Hello, welcome back to News World on Newsroom Africa, Channel 405. Women in the digital sector are making strides in an industry that's previously been male-dominated. With the lack of a female presence in the industry, there is a shortage of role models and mentors for women. And at the same time, Africans are subjected to higher data charges compared to the rest of the world. Now, we speak to a digital transformation executive, also a mentor to women in the ICT sector, Veronica Motloutsi, who will explore a little bit more on the subject with us. Veronica, thank you and welcome to News World.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Would you agree when I say that obviously the ICT, it offers a very high-skilled, rewarding, economically well-paid jobs, but it fails to attract women in the industry?
Women have always been underrepresented within the IT and the digital space, and this is globally, right? It's because of then the attractiveness of the roles or the jobs, you know. Although it is well paid, we've seen a lot of women coming in at a high rate and leaving the industry also at the high rate. And because of the nature of the job that is continuously changing, you know, we're talking about the 4IR. Within the 4IR is about data science, artificial intelligence, and
There's endless
things like
possibilities.
cyber security, a lot of opportunities, but the rate of change also becomes a barrier for many women, all right? But we're also seeing a lot of women forums to say that let us encourage each other, let us work together, let's build our own networks so that there is that recruitment of more women coming into the space.
Do you think it has anything to do with maybe a lack of confidence in that space, or maybe perhaps being bullied? Would that have any aspect as to why women enter and then leave that workforce so quickly?
Really, it's not about lack of confidence. Confidence has nothing to do with this, but it's around the treatment, the preferences, you know, and women more not having a voice, you know, and not being given an opportunity to go up the ladder, you know. But we see now with entrepreneurship, you see a lot of women starting their own companies, you know.
Which is what you've done with Smart Digital Solutions.
That's what I've done with the Smart Digital Solution, and it gives me the opportunity to go in the space whereby I was limited when I was in corporate.
So then would you then suggest that the way we draw women back into the ICT sector is through entrepreneurship, that would be the #1 way?
One way, but also having the role models, influencers, people who empower other women, because it's very important to see people doing it and succeeding. Then it's the right motivation to say that I can go in, I can succeed, and I can be able to make a difference for myself.
And perhaps also not just necessarily women, but also it should start from a young age, from children as well. And perhaps let's look at the foundations of ICT, and perhaps should it start at school? Should topics, or rather subjects like coding, be offered in school, or be, you know, it should be offered in school, like how English is. It's compulsory. So should a subject like coding be compulsory?
Coding should be compulsory at the school level, you know. You need to grow into this thing so that you are comfortable with it, you know. So it's very important that we consider those digital skills at an elementary phase so that you grow into the role, and it doesn't become a new thing while you are in your 18th or around the 20th.
Because I mean, it's not late, but it is late if you started way after school. You know, you're not as exposed to it. You're not familiar with it. And I mean, you mentioned earlier, I mean, there are many facets to ICT. I mean, AI is something that is really taken off the ground now. It's become quite popular. And another thing, that we in the 21st century, where a lot of our money is online. And I think the last time you were on the show, we touched a little bit about the digital economy. But I'm very interested to see, or to hear from your opinion, where is the digital economy heading?
So, I mean, within the digital space, you can be a generalist or a specialist, all right? So you can choose to say, I'm going to focus on AI, and I'll drive AI, or I'll focus on robotics or Internet of Things, you know. So you can decide to take that route or just become a generalist. And the opportunities within digital economy, if you look at digital, it drives many sectors. Okay? We're talking about financial inclusion. You know, financial inclusion is driven by digital because we give you access to a phone. On your phone, you'll be able to transact online. You'll be able to sell your products online. We're talking about the issues of health, telemedicine, you know, the ability to consult with your doctor remotely, especially in rural areas or places whereby access to healthcare is very limited. So there are so many opportunities, even within the education space. We speak a lot about, you know, access to online education, online material. In that way, I'm able to compete with someone who's sitting in India, in China, because now I've got access to information. And that's what drives really digital economy access.
I mean, okay, all's fair and well. And you mentioned, you know, telemedicine, and you mentioned how the digital economy can provide an income to people by being able to transact online, and how it can influence education. And all of these things are very important on the continent. And there was a report recently that stated, and it's no shock, we all know that in South Africa particularly, we pay some of the highest data rates. And Africans on the continent, compared to the rest of the world, are paying exorbitant amounts of money for access to the internet, for data infrastructure. Would you say this has something to do with business and monopoly, or what would the reasons behind this be?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at pure economics, all right, if you are in a country whereby there are many players, they tend to compete on price, you know, and they drive down the price as a result. But if you are in a country whereby there's a monopoly, you know, they'll set prices very high because they are the only provider of that particular service. So that is the one aspect in terms of data prices. Because if you look across the continent, right, South Africa, we pay like $7 for 1 gig. You look at Nigeria, they pay around $2 for 1 gig. If you go to Zimbabwe, it's a different ball game, right? So there's no consistency across the continent in terms of the data price. And one, you need to understand what drives also the data price, okay? If you need to understand the internet. So you've got the first mile, which is the submarine cables, all right? They sell the service to your mobile operators. The submarine mainly is about international connection. They sell that service to your mobile operators within the country, and the mobile operators sell the service to the ISPs. Within that value chain, you know, there are markups, interconnection fees, you know, and they push the price of data. And those are the things that need to be really taken care of in order to bring the price of data. If the price of data is high, it hinders on innovation.
All right, price of data high, hindering on innovation, and a part of smart digital solutions is that it provides fiber solutions to people. How do you make it more accessible to people?
So what we are we're looking into providing broadband, you know, into your townships. And we've partnered with one of the service providers to be able to roll out a broadband into the township. So the community networks, they help because now it means that there are other players, and we are able to now compete also on price and be able to bring the prices down and make sure that connectivity is also broadband is also accessible by people who are in a township.
Veronica, it sounds to me that it's not necessarily an infrastructure issue, a business issue. It's more an issue of will. Do the players want to make it accessible to other people? It is that. It's an issue of whether or not people want to provide this service to people who need it, and to make it more accessible, more as an infrastructure issue, or a business issue, a competition issue.
I wouldn't say that it's not an issue of infrastructure. There are issues that you need to take care of in terms of the infrastructure, you know. I mean, to put down fiber is expensive. You have to dig the road, you have to get permission and all those things. That contribute to the price that will be passed on to the consumer, you know. So in terms of will, it's about really if the environment is competitive, it tends to push the prices down on its own.
All right, back to the topic of women in the ICT sector. We know that the ICT sector has the ability to pull people out of poverty, and we know that women are a key player when it comes to the fight against poverty. But why should if a young girl is watching and she's looking at Veronica right now, who is the CEO of Smart Digital Solutions, who is making internet accessible to millions of people on the continent, why should a young girl look into maybe considering a career in ICT?
So if you look at how do we use technology to empower women, right? It starts with digital skills, you know, being able to use all the services that are provided by technology, you know. And I mean, and technology gives you an opportunity to change people's lives. You know, we spoke about health. If I deploy telemedicine, I'm saving a lot of life. And as women, we are empowered to do such things. And hence, it is important to encourage women to participate in this industry.
And to take a leading role, not just
lead,
participate.
Take a leading role, you know, and women can influence better, they can empower better, and hence we want a lot of them in this sector. And we are launching another program for Women in Digital Leadership Series that will be run across the continent to focus on digital skills, but also make sure that the women who are in corporate and business are able to succeed, empower themselves, and as well as leapfrog.
Well, there you go. Veronica Motloutsi joining us in studio. She's the CEO of Smart Digital Solutions. She's also a mentor to women and young girls who are maybe considering taking a role in the ICT sector. Obviously, there's a strong will and need for women to take more leadership roles in the ICT sector. Thank you, Veronica, for joining us. Newsworld's going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk to two gentlemen from a lab that's really changing the way we deal with cancer treatment on the continent, particularly in Southern Africa. Very pioneering treatments. We're going to look at more of what's available out there. How are we making cancer treatment a lot more affordable and accessible to the millions of people who struggle, or rather suffer from this terrible life-threatening disease?